Welcome back to In Focus. In East Africa, Tanzania has long grappled with malaria, which kills many children each year. Determined to minimize the impact of the disease, the government is investing heavily in research to find the most effective ways to control it. During my recent visit to Tanzania, I spoke with several scientists about the mosquito-borne infection. One of the challenges to treating malaria in Tanzania has been drug resistance. For over a decade, the Ifakara Health Institute in Bagamoyo, 75 kilometers north of the capital Dar es Salaam, has participated in studies on resistance to anti-malaria medication in the country. Dr. Salim Abdullah is the director of Ifakara Health Institute. He says those studies have helped confront malaria more effectively.
And this has led to the Ministry of Health to change the treatment, the first-line treatment for malaria in this country 2 times. First, we changed from chloroquine to SP, sulfadoxine pyrimethamine, and then changing to Coartem, which is now the standard of care in Tanzania.
The institute is constantly monitoring current treatments to detect any sign of resistance. Dr. Abdullah says self-medication is prevalent and does undermine the effectiveness of medication. How about traditional herbal remedies that are widely used in the country? I put that question to Dr. Julius Masaga, the Acting Director General of Tanzania's National Institute for Medical Research.
Yeah, the Institute have a department on traditional medicine. So we have some remedy which the Institute has already developed, and we are in the process of registering them through the Tanzania Food and the Drug Authority. Some of them are to do with malaria, other to deal with the prostate, and the other one it is to deal with opportunistic infection for those infected with HIV/AIDS. So there are some.
An anti-malaria vaccine is currently on trial in Tanzania. Dr. Abdullah says the vaccine, known as RTSS, is being evaluated by a partnership of African investigators from 7 African countries, including Tanzania. The vaccine is in the advanced stage of its trial.
Now in phase 3, this is the stage of evaluation that will provide data to show whether this vaccine can be given to many who are in endemic areas and are suffering from malaria. We hope that the initial results of this phase 3 program will be available in October of this year. And the experience from the phase 2 evaluations that have been done on the RTSS to date show that this vaccine is promising, has been able to prevent almost half of all the clinical malaria episodes that children usually get in a year.
Some in developing countries complain that African research findings are never given due recognition internationally. Dr. Abdullah does not think anybody would second-guess the research work going on at Ifakara Health Institute.
The quality of implementation of these studies that we conduct here are comparable to any that you find anywhere else in the world. It's quality controlled by multinationals. So we are implementing the studies and the evaluation to this standard that is required internationally. And we hope that with this level of implementation, people will find the results that we generate very credible. I should add that most of the issue is coming from the people in countries themselves. If our own local government and local authorities believe in what we do, then what others think is immaterial.
Tanzania's President Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete has put his weight behind the fight against malaria, declaring that malaria is unacceptable in Tanzania. Dr. Abdullah says while malaria remains a health challenge, the country's anti-malaria strategies are bearing fruit.
We have started seeing good impact of the scale-up of interventions that the Ministry of Health and the National Malaria Control Program has instituted in the last 5 or 10 years, including bed nets and insecticide spraying in various parts of the country, including Bagamoyo. And we are slowly seeing that the number of episodes of malaria are coming down.
Dr. Abdullah says malaria cases in Tanzania have dropped from 18 million cases a decade ago to its current level of 11 million a year. Well, now let me take you to where all the research takes place. This is Ifakara Health Institute in Bagamoyo, about 74 kilometers outside of Dar es Salaam. Now, in this building, there are a number of laboratories and the research that is going on in malaria, TB, and HIV. And we're going to go inside where we'll meet Dr. Kefus Mugitu, who's going to take us through the different experiments, research, and studies that are going on in this institute.
Quite a number of activities are taking place here. As the word title denotes, this is the molecular biology section. We do quite a number of molecular biological activities here with regard to malaria and tuberculosis. And mostly we are interested in looking at the determinants of drug resistance in tuberculosis and malaria. See there's a couple of machines, PCR machines, where we do the PCR DNA nucleic acid amplification, and thereafter we come over to this particular machine and spot what we have amplified in there onto a chip. It's a little chip, silicon chip, exactly, which has got about 384 spots, and we spot the chip in there, and after that we come over here, we open up the machine, we slit the chip on, and ready for firing. So what happens is on the chip you have the DNA, the RNA, whatever, and the laser produced from this machine fires onto the chip, and then we read with these particular machines here. Okay, and we also have another instrument which is called real-time PCR machine. We normally use this one to quantify the amount of parasites on DNA in the samples, and we also use it very much to assess gene copy numbers, especially when it comes to PFMDR, which is chloroquine resistance determining genes. Yeah, this is a Cobas Integra 400 Plus machine. The main job of this machine is to look at the blood biochemistry. It looks at the liver, and principally liver and kidney function. So there are some enzymes that are produced in the liver and in the kidney. And when you assess the level of those enzymes, you can easily tell the condition of the liver and kidney of those patients. This is a parasitology section, and the main activities that take place here is preparation of blood smears for microscopic examination of malaria parasite. So you can see this young lady here, what she is preparing is something like this. Some blood is dropped onto glass slide and then spread to form what we call thin and thick smear, and then examined under microscopy for malaria parasite. So what we have here, the dot is a thick smear for detection of malaria parasite, and then you have another streak of blood spread onto the glass, and this is what we call thin smear, which is then used for identification of parasites to species level.
The Ifakara Health Institute is being expanded to accommodate even more research activities.